What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. Hey yo fam, PERPETUAL, it's time to wake up. Don't hit the snooze button.
My grandmother also told me about a story, and even my dad told me this one too. Both of them did tell me this story about a woman who said she didn't want a husband anymore in African culture. She said, I don't want my husband anymore. She said, and I said, why would you say that? She said, he doesn't shower, he stinks, he smells, I don't want him. I like to the bathroom. You hear me? He could not come to that bathroom. And this is where the idea of oaths and covenants come in. Marriage is a covenant, it's an oath.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So in African culture, that divorce was discouraged. We always believe there's a solution. Okay? Now, and when we say there's a solution, we're not going to leave you with a man who is manic to beat you up and crazy to beat you up until you die. That was also not African culture. Because they knew that when you hit a woman, there is forces that will follow you. And in fact, it's a saying they say, meaning the reproach that will come out of hitting a woman, it's just too much. You don't want to deal with it. You know?
Wow.
So, this thing of actually demeaning women is more of a European thing, and I'll explain why.
It sure is.
Because we never had prostitution until the European industries came in. Kisi culture, there's no word for prostitute. Okay? The word for prostitute now they use is what logo is a chair. Okay? Anybody can go and sit on her, you see? They don't really have a word for a prostitute. You know, they'll use a name that shows a woman who moves around, or she's a chair, or you know, she's an open door. They'll use a kind of name. But we don't really have the word for prostitute. Why? Because language is an emblem of social behavior. So even when this woman came to sue her husband saying, oh my God, he doesn't shower or whatever, she was told by the judge, she was told, tell your husband to go in the morning to the lake every morning, to the lake every day, in the morning, and put his spear in the ocean. Okay? And because every morning he had to go and put his spear in the ocean, he had to shower. He had no choice but to shower. You see? So there were reasons why women would take their husbands to court. Women had rights, and it's not exactly what the Europeans like to project. You know, that's what I'm saying.
You know, also, you talked about there's consequences to how black men treat what the Africans was treating the female. There's consequences. When you look at what's going on over here in America today, how they have learned, because the black female was not disrespected. That was something that they learned, a behavior that they took from the Europeans. So, and when you look at what's going on with black males today in America, it's because of how they treat the black female. And I told my husband, I said, and you see, because we are a covenanted people, that is a community, it has to do with us as a whole. It ain't just one, it's all of them suffering. Even though you may have some that's treating their wives good, you know, as a whole, black men in America suffer the most.
Yes.
In comparison to any other man, the things that they go through, how the police constantly throwing them in jail, they killing them more than us. I mean, it's just so much. It's because of them, and they don't. That's why it's important to know who you are. Why is this happening to you? Because you are African, and there was a covenant made. And you don't mistreat the mother, the woman that brings life into this realm, the woman whose body is sacred, that brings the sacred spirit into this physical realm. You don't do that. There's ramifications. And until our black men understand this and start treating the black mother with the utmost respect like they used to, their situation will not change. Now, granted, there are some men finally realizing this, and they're coming out and speaking out on this. So there is an awakening to this happening.
Yeah. And you know, and you know, before I go off tangent, but again, like I'm saying, with what we're saying about when it comes to respect of women, I was telling this to a friend of mine, you know. Well, we were watching this documentary about, I think it's in Colombia. He's one of the greatest killers in Colombia. I think he's killed 72. But because the law only allows up to 30 years, he was able to be released. But he killed 72 people.
Jeez.
So, but this man, of course, had gone through he was abused as a child. He had such a tough life. And then he said his uncle initiated him into this cult, okay, where he drank cat blood. But anyway, he became one of the greatest drug dealers. But before all this, let's go back to, I like when I read about serial killers, I like to go back and find out the history. That's a very African thing to do. So I found out that this serial killer, because for you to kill 70 people, that's not natural. Number one, that's an abomination. An abomination. It's not even self-defense. Okay, some of them were self-defense, but it also almost became like it was second nature to him, okay? When this man, his mom was cutting him in his stomach, and I'll show you how the reproach that comes from a woman is bad. He grew up in a very poor and violent neighborhood, okay? So you should expect that. Mother did something. She wasn't very rich, but dad was a drug dealer. But when mother was pregnant, father was so angry, they had an argument, and he beat up the woman with her pregnancy and punched him right in his stomach. Punched mother right in her stomach, okay? When the boy was still in the womb. Okay, years later, father ends up killing mom, which is only incumbent, or such a violent man. He used to beat her silly, beat her black and blue. But now, years later, he kills the mother. The son finds out. When does the son find out he's in jail? But because the son, people are so scared of him, and because he's so crazy and manipulative, he finds a way to get into his dad's cell when he finds out that the dad is in jail because he killed his mom. Do you know what he does to his dad? He steals keys from the bodyguards, from the security, the prison wardens, and goes right into his father's cell and stabs his father and removes his heart and chews it. You see what I'm saying? It was only, when I saw that, I said, it was only incumbent. When you hit a pregnant woman, you don't know what she's saying. You don't know what she feels. You don't know what she cries out to the Most High. He might say, this child will never be a blessing to you. He may this child will never bless you. If a mother says that, don't be surprised if the son comes and kills him and eats his heart. The son makes sure he chewed his father's heart. You see? But hitting him, the curse didn't just start there. The curse started when the father hit that boy. There was a kind of reproach that started. You can't hit a pregnant woman. First of all, she's spiritually, like a pregnant woman is very, very spiritually in tune. Why? Because you're calling another being. So your resonance and your vibration is not like a normal woman. That's why you can't sit there. You can't be seated and a pregnant woman standing. Are you crazy? So you see, again, yeah. So women, there's a way you handle women in African culture. And this idea of industrialization caused men to move from the rural areas to the urban areas. And with that rural-urban migration, marriages were kind of split. Men were not handling the responsibility that they should. Then what happens? You have another kind of rural-urban migration. Widows moving into the cities and becoming what? Prostitutes. prostitution only started after colonialism. We never had it. Never even had a name for prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
That is the evil of colonialism.
Yes. Yes. And here this talks about it a little bit. It said a bride price or wealth which cements the relationship between the contracting families. The bride wealth brings about oneness. Now, see, we know that it has changed on the continent. They made it about money. They totally changed. It's about oneness, friendship, communion, and an establishment of the readiness to form a marriage, like you said, covenant, because marriage is a covenant. And okay, that's all I want to talk on that. Let me see. Let me move on real quick. I think we're okay. It says the covenant helps to consolidate the desire to maintain peace. They keep talking about peace and orderliness, harmonious living amongst themselves. Hence, it tries to eliminate deep-seated hatred and calm frayed nerves, especially on issues concerning land disputes, communal, individual squabbles, etc. And it strengthens the unity between the reconciled individual groups and communities. It says that there's different types of covenants, and I didn't put all of them in here in this article that she was talking about. I just kind of put, I think, 2 of them. But she said it helps to maintain order, and it keeps coming up to this. That's why I ask you all, what comes to your mind when you keep hearing maintain peace, maintain order, maintain cohesiveness? The first thing that came to my mind was Ubuntu and Ma'at. So the covenants were not evil. They were to help to maintain ma'at, peace, reciprocity, truth, justice, and then Ubuntu, community. I am because you are. We're getting that. She says it talks about the suzerainty covenant. She said it was 2. And the parity covenant, and says, what's that? Suzerainty covenant is the one that's made between man and God, or between man and divinity. And then the covenant in nature, it has terms that were unilateral, given by a person in authority who undertakes to afford the vassal protection and security. Such covenant terms very often involve certain restrictions from things which are forbidden, taboos, and consequence of the nature of divinity, and promote good relationships between the person and the worshiper. On the other hand, parity covenant is a covenant made between 2 persons or parties who are on equal terms or status, and is usually reciprocal. It requires a call on a divinity to bear witness to the covenant. So still, it has spiritual consequences behind it. So there are other subtypes of covenants in African religion, and they include the ancient man covenant. Y'all heard of that before? And it says the ancient man or prehistoric man covenant. This is the first and foremost covenant type in African religion. Like in the creation covenant in Christianity in Africa, according to some creation stories, man was originally put in a state of paradise. And that book talks about this. Happiness and morality. We had divinity and we lost that divinity. And so now we're trying to return back to that divine state. Remember, we're created in the image and the likeness of the creator, not just by color, but by spirit as well. But because we have lost that divinity, that divine state, we have to restore that. He was to observe the single law laid down to test his obedience upon this law. See, this is just like in the Bible. God laid the penalty of death as a sanction, asserted that, as can be seen in Banugwanda, I don't want to butcher that story, which states that God was looking for death. Okay. But the woman decided to hide death, and the death has since remained with them. By the doctrine, this is another African writer that wrote about traditional religion and covenants. By the doctrine of the African traditional religions, man is expected to be in a covenant. So it's expected to be in a covenantal relationship with his fellow man and the creator. The implication of this is that any harm done to one member affects the other. Ubuntu. Thus, it becomes necessary for the members to seek for the well-being of one another and avoid any action that amounts to the breaking of the covenant. Now, there's no such term or even concept amongst European that is Ubuntu by nature. It's all individualistic upon them. That is why they're acting the way they act. That is why you see that who's being impacted the most by what they're doing this here administration now, it's impacting their people.
Yep.
You see?
Yep.
And they know this. But what they said to despite us, they don't care if it's gonna hurt their people, if it's gonna spite the people that they're trying to spite. Now that's some evil, wicked stuff right there. The covenant binds people together. Thus, a member does not live his life alone. We are all connected, and we're connected to nature and everything else. It's a symbiosis, you all.
Yeah.
Cut down the tree, what's going to happen? They know. They talk about the ozone layer because we need the trees. We need the bees. We need the ants. We're all connected. Everything in every person has a place and a purpose. And our ancestors knew this. That is why they respected nature the way they had. And the Europeans could not understand this. And they said, oh, they worship many. No, they were not worshiping. They talked about this earlier, Bosibore and Tabitha, how we had one creator. We did, but yet our ancestors knew that the essence of the creator was in everything. Yeah. And because of that, they had the utmost respect because they knew that the divine essence was in the ant, was in the tree, was in the water. You see? In you and I. You see, when we begin to look at each other and see the divine in each other, then we will start going back to Ma'at, to Ubuntu.
Yeah.
So it says he is a member of the corporate body. That is why they talked about, in Hebrew, they call it kahal, right? Which is just community. It's talking about us because we are the only group of people that are always, even us in America back in the day, they different now. It was community. It was always about the community. I grew up in an all black community. Everybody knew everybody, had the black stores. You know, the teachers and the principals, the principal when I was in middle school was a teacher. When my mom was, they knew my kindergarten teacher lived around the corner from me. So it was a community. I would go over her house and sit with her and talk with her. Community. You needed something, you can go to your neighbor and borrow some sugar, borrow some eggs. You can't do that now. And they have separated that. So Martin Luther King said, I believe I have put my people in a burning house because it disrupted everything. When we wanted, let me see how I can put this and put it nicely and cordially. The Civil Rights Act, when they came about it was supposed to really bring about equality for us. But what they did, it did the opposite. It destroyed our community. Hence, it destroyed us. Because I told you, I grew up in a community where it was the black store owners. When I went to get them cookies and the pickles and all this stuff, it was black people that we went to the store with. That owned the stores. So you go to the black community today, you don't have black people owning their businesses in the community like when I was growing up because of the civil rights. And Martin Luther King knew this. And when he began to start changing the narrative, that's when he was taken out. Because he knew that they tricked him. And you see the results of it today. Mm-hmm. So, covenant binds people together. So the covenant binds us together. Because if I know, Sister Bosibore, if you go and do something, Sister Tamara, y'all, back to your question, what you were saying. If you do something, and I know that it's outside of the covenant, and it ain't going to just impact you, it impacts me too, and my children, I'm going to deal with you.
There you go.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And we need to go back to that because you all have to realize who you are, and the covenant that was made with the Most High, it still impacts us today. We are one people. And I was telling my husband, I said, you know, them people in Christianity used to get me when I left organized religion. And they said, well, the Bible said, forget not to assemble yourself. But oh, I'm so grateful for revelation. You see? I said, do you know what it means, what it was referencing when it says forsake not to assemble yourselves together? I said that is why it's critical and important that you know culture, and because they're coming from a Western perspective. You see, when you're reading a book written thousands of years ago by people thousands of years ago, you got to go back to what was going on. What were they doing? What does it mean? It wasn't about no church because they ain't even have no church then at that time. That just came around, what, in the 3rd century? That just came around. So when he says forsake not to assemble yourselves together, he's talking about those times when they came, what we talked about, the rituals that around the moon. When they came together as a community. Remember we talked about that, you all?
Yeah.
That was the community came together to celebrate and to have the different, what do they call them, Sister Bosibore and Tabitha, when they come and do that during the ceremonies, the different ceremonies. That was community. So that was part of the covenant. That is what it's referencing, you all. So we can't think in the 21st century mindset of a European perspective, not even a black man. We got to go back to what was our ancestors doing. Look in there and study and look at it from a culture perspective. You got to look at it from that time frame.
Yeah.
So covenant enhances oneness, because now I know if Sister Bosibore is doing something that's going to impact me, I know, Sister Bosibore, you can't do that. No, you need to stop. You need to stop because it's going to impact me. It's going to impact more than just you, black people. I'm just using Sister Bosibore as an example, but it's all of us. So all this bickering, all this fighting that's going about, and I know that siblings fight, cousins fight, but I understand that. But you know, we living in some precarious times right now where we need to start really coming together, and we see it. It is happening. I know it's happening, but we got to put aside all this stuff. I was talking with this brother of ours. He's from his ancestors from Haiti. Grew up in the Caribbean, moved to Florida when he was real young. Said he don't like African Americans. I'm like, but you like us? You deal with us? He said, oh, y'all different. Y'all good people. I said, well, do you realize we the same people though? I said, all this mess talk about, I'm Haitian, I'm African American, I'm foundation of Black American, I'm Jamaican, I'm Barbadian. I said, this was by design to keep us separated. We all one people. I said, your ancestors just got dropped off at a different location. I said, but we all the same people, have a common ancestor. When will we realize this and wake up, you all?
You know, honestly, that's confusion. Honestly, when you look at it and see that we are the same people, but you're saying I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. It was those Europeans who gave us the borders. It was those Europeans who made us or taught us to say, I'm this, I'm that. That's confusion.
Everything,
we're one people.
Yeah, everything but who we are. Everything but who we are. And then they had us going through all these different phases, calling us first black, then when Negro, then black. They just kept changing the name. And it was like you said, to keep us from knowing who we are, you know, keep us in a state of ignorance, because they know if we ever wake up and come back to our senses of who we are. I felt that. It's over for them, you all. It's a wraps. And it's happening. Not as fast as we want it, granted. But it's happening. So the covenant enhances oneness. It helps to rid the society of evil because now you are your brother's keeper, because you know it impacts you what they do. You see, they go out here and they shooting up all in the neighborhood. They ain't just looking at them in that neighborhood. They looking at all black males the same way. You see?
Yep.
I had this when I was in college. It was this man used to be the chief of police where I grew up with. He retired and he was over security at the college I went through. And, you know, we always got bad seed in family. And my brother's youngest brother stayed in a lot of trouble, you know, and the law knew him. And when he found out that was my brother, he's like, no way, no way. That's not your brother. Y'all are like day and night. I said, yes, that is my brother. But we are all one, and what one does impacts us all, you all. I'm going to keep stressing that till we get that. It impacts us all because in the Most High's sight, it's not one person that made the covenant. It is a community of people connected by kinship, connected by blood, connected by spirit. And that's
true. That's why even like in African, if you see within Bantu languages, when you just talk about the connection between community and through a divine connection of spirit, that's why you will see that even within Hebraic nations, should I say, you will see that part of their expression when they're talking, they'll say, they'll always say, my family, my people. When they talk, they'll say, my people, without thinking. For example, like in my culture, you know, members of the household are called Vaito. Vaito. Hebrew is Bayet, okay? But for us, it's Vaito. So someone will be like, Vaito, you know, as an expression of happiness. In Swahili, also, they'll say Jamani. Jamani comes from the word Jama. I know you've had it. Jama means family. So it's always about, Jamani.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because community comes first before individual ego.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just repeating what you're saying. I'm just repeating what you're saying.
Yes, it does. But because I'm feeling this, I had to contain myself and control myself because I was feeling it so, you know, from the divine realm, how we are so connected that what I do, what you do, and the other person, it impacts us as a whole. We're one people. So for so many people to,
you get, to be honest, let me just tell you, Dada, you get Ubuntu. You get it. You get it. You get it. That's why even when I'm seeing that emotion build up, you get it. Because I will hang around, you know, some African Americans. When it comes to the spiritual side, they will be generous, whatever. But when it comes now to when they go into the secular world, hey, yeah, it's my stuff, it's my food, it's my stuff. You know, so and that's the same thing that you are also saying that you understood. Like you saw that the Tanzanians were more hospitable to you. African Americans there. Why? Because you get Ubuntu, you get it. I'm telling you, Ubuntu is not something that people can just get it because it's really a tough culture, especially when you come from an individualistic culture. Because you're going to expect everything to be paid for, everything in return. You see what I'm saying?
yes.
But you get it. And you lived among Ubuntu. But I think the reason why you got it is because already the Most High had already put that chip in you. And there are those who Most High may put the chip in them, but when they get there, they're like, no, man, my American ways are the best. There are those I will see African Americans in Africa, and I can tell this one has never really adopted. We'll never say it. Africans will never say what they're thinking more often than not. They'll never say it upright. You know, they'll be like, this one's still American. And sometimes they'll even refer to some African Americans as white people. You know, and people get offended. Why you call me white? No, it's the spirit that I feel. You see, even when my aunt first came to America, she talked about African Americans. She's like, yeah, those white people. I'm like, they're not white, they're African Americans.
They act white, she said.
I'm like, for her, she's seeing the language, the dressing, the behavior is all white. So to her, she just calls them white.
But it's not our fault. They need to understand it's not our fault.
It's not. And I get it. I mean, I can't imagine what you guys are. Like I said, I always say African Americans are crazy. Because me, I experienced that little discrimination. I was going to the psychologist. Mental problem. I can't imagine what you guys went through. There was no counseling.
We're a different breed over here when it comes to that. I can tell you stories offline about, because I'm from Mississippi, so yeah, it's a little different in Mississippi than when you start moving further west and north. They hide it, but down there, and you hit it head on, and I hit it head on. I remember the first time we getting off now, but I experienced discrimination, and it was like something just hit me in the chest. That was my first time, literally. Feeling it, where I had graduated from college the first time. I got my first degrees in business administration.
Wow.
And I went to this insurance company for this job in Jackson, Mississippi, and interviewed. The only black person I saw was a black janitor. The man didn't even interview me. He started asking me questions about who did your resume. Oh, it's so professional. Blah, 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 blah. I said, I did it. You did it. Oh, blah. Oh, you made the highest. Oh, you had to take a test for this job. You made the highest on the test that anybody had ever made in you. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Never interviewed me, you all. He said, oh, I'm going on vacation and I'll call you back next week. That has been over 30 years and I'm still waiting on that call. And I knew it. I felt that it was because of who, because nobody, I'm telling you, even the secretary was white. The only black was this, and he was looking at me smiling. I ain't know what. He like, yeah, one of us coming up in here now that's going to have a position other than this. And it hit me. Y'all know how it is. You feel proud, very proud when you see one of your own reach a status that has been denied you. Not that you're not capable of doing it, but because just out of hatred, pure hatred, don't want to see you succeed. I remember the lady next door, across the street from us, real quickly. She's African American too. She told me, she said, don't take your car to any interviews because they see the type of car that you're driving. They gonna get jealous of you. She said, I don't even take my car. And I had one when I was a supervisor working with the insurance company. I was the only black in this area. And we was going by assignment by where you live. See, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. So when she said, oh, Brenda, where you live at? And I didn't want to tell her. I said, oh, I gave her the county. She said, well, where in that county? And I kind of did that, and I told her where it was. Do you know what this white woman asked me?
What?
To my face. How can you afford to live out there?
Somebody else told me she was asked that too.
How
dare shit.
But you know what? That's why you better be careful. People need to be careful who they put their mouth. Do you know this woman got demoted? I was on vacation. She got demoted.
Love it. I love it.
She got demoted. I came back from vacation. The director called me in the office. I'm just going to tell y'all this story because we're talking about how we're connected and who we are as a people. And Melanie is still tying in now, just a little sideline though. And she asked me, did I have any issues with her? And I said, no. I said, but people on my team, they have brought up some complaints, to me about her. She said, well, Brenda, this is the director. She was a white lady. She's real nice. She said, Brenda, she ain't going to mess with you though because she know how you are. She said, she's not going to mess with you. And she told me what was going on. And that woman, and I told her what she said when I told her no, I haven't had any issues with her. I said, but she did, and I told her about that incident when we were all in that meeting, all the supervisors. She said, she what? She asked you what? This is another white woman. See, favor. That woman got demoted. Watch who you put in your mouth on. And my husband, like, I would have said something to her. I sat there and I just looked at her and I just smiled when she said that. But anyway, we're going to see more of that happening because of the time that we're living in. So when I said, what does this sound like above? I already told you all Ubuntu and because this is what our ancestors stood for. Ubuntu, I am because you are. We're one people, we're connected, and it impacts us, right? So, and our ancestors was about upholding peace and reciprocity because of who we are and the covenants that we made. You see, when we don't uphold that and do that, the Bible says that the children of Israel are the salt of the earth, right? That was something that Bosibore had said earlier. I can't remember what it was, and that came to my mind. I said, that's because we're the salt of the earth. What does a salt do? Salt cleanses. Salt purifies. Salt preserves. So we are the one to live in this covenantal relationship with the Most High, so to preserve the righteousness and the righteous laws and precepts of the Most High. We are to preserve that. And the Bible also says that we are the light of the world, right? So a light enables people to see when there's darkness, which is sometimes equated with evil. We are that light. Why is our light so dim? Okay. So, and this right here, I'm almost finished. In African, I couldn't find the others. I didn't have time. So I'm not slighting any of the other ethnicities on the continent. This was what I could quickly find. And of course, I do have some lineage from the Igbo people. I found out too by way from not no genetic from these organizations. It's just by getting information from my grandmother and researching from the Igbo people of Nigeria, part of it anyway. That's on one side of the family, but you know we are mixed up with all of them on the continent of Africa. But anyway, African Igbo culture concept of Iba Ndu covenant, which literally means joining lives together. The two, and we're talking about covenants, Igbo covenant. Two ratification acts in the text involve a blood ritual and a ritual meal, both of which are not foreign to the African Igbo concept of Iba Ndu. I hope I'm saying it right. Iba Ndu. In both the Old Testament understanding of covenant and the African Igbo concept of it, there's a special relationship established when two persons or two parties enter into it, and they are now inseparably bonded together. Now, y'all let me know if I'm right or wrong. Tell me the words. It says, I found something on Swahili. It says agano, spiritual meaning of covenant in Swahili. Now, granted, I know they said there is not one particular word, that there's multiple words they said in the African expression of covenant. It says in spiritual context, it is a covenant refers to a binding agreement or promise made with oneself or with the divine, which we did as a whole, a group, often reflecting a commitment to live in accordance with spiritual principles and teachings. Now, this is in Swahili, okay? It's just like in the Bible. To live in accordance with, didn't they do that? They said when Moses came down off of the mount, and he cut the cow, and they said, we will obey, we will follow the commandments. Okay. Reflecting the commitment to live in accordance with spiritual principles or teachings. This term is often used in religious or spiritual discussions to signify a pledge or a promise that one is willing to uphold. And we are done.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Actually, how we call the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Let's get back to YouTube.
Huh?
No, she's talking to her followers. Yeah. You're done with them?
Yeah, somebody was just asking me a question, but yeah, I did tell them to come to ManzambiZola too. So, hey guys.
All right.
Come to ManzambiZola, don't forget.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I was saying the New Testament is called Agano Jipya, which means the new covenant, and Agano Lakale means the old covenant. So in Swahili, we don't say testament because testament is, how can I say, to testify, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but we don't testify. We just call it a covenant. Direct, live and direct. So in Swahili, yeah, they will say New Testament. They will say new. When you translate, it is New Covenant, and then the Old Testament. They will not say Testament. They will say Old Covenant. I think the same way with the Kegusi Bible, they will say Emumenya. Muma is an oath.
Yes.
Now they will call it an oath and a covenant, like it's together. Yeah. So in my language, they will call it oath and covenant. Covenant and oath, I think they have the same name.
Yeah.
And yes, so they will say the new oath covenant. So that Bible is full of covenants, and without those covenants, there couldn't be an Old Testament and a New Testament. So maybe I will just say 2-3 things. Then I can leave you guys. Maybe when I get sleepy, I'll go sleep. But let me just give 2 examples so that whoever is following us maybe is waiting for an example of an oath and they are wondering when it's coming, when is it coming? Okay, I'll give one example of David and Bathsheba. So according to us in the African culture, all of us, there was the oaths and the covenants in marriage that we are not going to commit adultery. Yes, we knew men married many wives, but marrying, which means they will make a covenant with another woman, but they are not going to lay down with another woman whom they have not married legally in the traditional marriage, because there was a process. You will not go out there and misbehave with somebody you are not married to. Now that one could be adultery, and that one was punishable and even death. All right, for us, there was punishment by death as Bantus, but we will not come physically to kill you. The oath will kill you. Like the covenant will kill you. It will kill you by itself. So we're not going to, you see, when the scripture says this was punishable by death, so many people think like, okay. So when Moses gave the law and the people went against the law, people could take stones and start killing the person, throwing the stones. Sometimes it was not like that. You could just die slowly. Something comes over you, you get some sickness, and then later on, the seers or the other people who have visions and whatever say, you know what killed this guy? Even before the person dies, you know what is going to kill you? It's because you broke the covenant. You see, they will know what they did. And sometimes they could ask for forgiveness, they could cleanse themselves, they could go back. But most of the time, they assumed like, no, it's not about it. It's not about it. So David and Bathsheba, David goes and takes another woman of another man, kills the man, Uriah, and has a baby with this Bathsheba. But what happens? The baby of Bathsheba dies.
Yes.
So David tries to pray, David tries to fast, David tries to do everything, but the baby dies. Now this is punishable by death. Why? Adultery is punishable. To this day, in my community, adultery causes death. I'm not saying there are no promiscuous people around, but there are so many conditions. Now, let me give one example. If you're married to a man, and what they recognize as a marriage is a traditional marriage, because a traditional marriage has those so many covenants, because there are animals that are slaughtered, There is words the elders say. There is, and most of these covenants, African covenants of our ancestors, or whatever is even happening today, there was beer. No party without beer. So there was the traditional beer. There was the animal that is, sacrifice even didn't mean like you have to put the meat on rocks and barbecue it. It didn't mean that. As long as the meat was slaughtered and the blood, goes to the ground and all you people share, that is already a covenant. So that's why sometimes some other people don't like to eat meat in people's homes or in places, because they say, hey, how do I know they slaughtered that meat? It's a covenant, and then I'll get involved what I don't know. So some people are afraid to be called in these, meat parties and eat something they're not sure of. So in my culture, example number one, when a man goes out of his home, he has a woman he has married legally. Whether he paid dowry, he promised to pay, or he paid half of it, but he did the other ceremonies, because there are other ceremonies, like the other family has to cook food, the other family has to bring the food, then they have to eat together. There are so many words they say. They ask you, because in our culture, we didn't have forced marriage. We didn't have forced marriage. So the suitor would come and the elders would ask him a question. Then they would call you and ask you, do you really know this man? Do you like him? Do you want him? And then after that, negotiations would start. Lots of negotiations. So if this man goes and takes another woman, and the wife was pregnant, the real wife now. So this man has gone out of the marriage and committed adultery out there. And the wife was pregnant. And this lady goes to give birth in the hospital. Now this is in my tribe. This lady goes to give birth. When you give birth, there must be spill of blood. There must be a spill of blood. So this blood is the blood that is really dangerous. Any blood, it doesn't matter whether it's pregnancy blood, blood after pregnancy, or in the course of that, or you are sick, you're injured, as long as there is a spill of blood. So this man who is adulterous should never come near his wife. He should not come to the hospital to visit the wife. He should not bring food and give to the wife. He should do none of that. Because if he does that, this woman will die.
Yeah.
But see, who sinned? Who sinned? It's the man who sinned. The wife is innocent.
Wow.
So the wife might die because this adulterous man has brought her food at the hospital. This adulterous man, this what they call Dada Amasangi. I'm talking about Amasangi.
Mr. Tabitha.
Yes.
You won't believe it. You won't believe it, but a white doctor. I was told by my uncle, a white doctor, said that he couldn't understand the mysterious deaths that were happening to his patients. These were things that were told traditionally, and we're like, God, these people superstitious people. But I've heard of relatives who've had affairs as their wives are giving birth, and they died. And at that time they died, that person was cheating.
Wow.
I'm sorry if you're a family member and you've had this. If you know who I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But yeah, the specifications and the certain stipulations that they should be observed. And it's true what she's saying. Doctor came up with this, and he said that in his years of being a doctor, he observed that sometimes patients would die for no reason. But when he went to look, husband had an affair, or someone who they didn't like came to see them at the hospital. You know that thing? Those are things that we just thought were superstitions. But this doctor many years of research has said, he found out patients would they're doing well. Somebody they don't like comes to visit them. Boom. Husband goes, has an boom, wife dies. Natural causes. Now, why I'm saying why it fascinates me that it's a white doctor is because these were things we followed. Okay. Oh, I'm charging the wrong phone. I'm sorry. These were things we followed. Okay. And then because of education, you think, oh, people are so savage. We're the most educated. You're not. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Why,
That's why we
why
should
would
be.
the wife die if she was innocent, though? Why did the punishment come on?
It does.
It's a covenant. It's
Yeah,
a covenant
She
that
didn't
we
do
made.
anything.
I know.
But
Sometimes it just does happen.
That is why you have to be your brother's keeper. That is
Yes.
when you see somebody is cheating, tell the elders this guy is cheating on his wife. Don't keep quiet. Don't keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Then what will happen? The men will call him and tell him, you're cheating on your wife, and we know as a community, we know what you're doing. So don't ever go to see your wife. So they will make sure this man doesn't come near you. It is the community that will discipline this man. They will give him a lecture, a very good lecture.
So basically, it's the community that's protecting the
To
life
watch.
of the wife.
Yes.
Because
Because
he
the
broke
crazy
the
man.
covenant.
But he the one that's still living, getting up, going on about his business.
Okay, the second death can be caused like this. My mother has become adulterous, or my mother has divorced my father, but not legally. Like the traditional things have not yet been done. Like the covenant has not been broken. The covenant is still there. And my mother, since they have, let me call it separation. Separation is not divorce. So my mother has separated from my dad. And my mother has gotten in a relationship with another man. And me as her daughter, I'm pregnant. And I've gone to the hospital to give birth. So my mother will think, oh my God, my daughter needs something to eat. The masses of the mother, and they know what is motherhood. Oh, I have to go see my child. I know she needs me now. The moment she comes, I die. Because she's bringing that spirit.
Yeah.
I will die. I'm very innocent. I will die and I will leave the grandchild.
You're innocent, but you're also a child of the covenant.
You're a child of the covenant.
There's that if you go against the covenant, it's death.
Yes.
So death doesn't have to, it's just the same way the Most High said, Adam and Eve, if you sin, you shall die. Now, didn't die physically. But the curse of death came upon them. They died only spiritually. So sometimes death, you have to be careful with that. Death sometimes can even mean just drying up of your finances. Death can come in so many forms. People just think it's, I'm going to die. No, you can be alive, but you're dead.
Walking dead.
Any kind of money you touch like this, death comes upon it. And even African culture, they say, like money takes shapes of different, it's like water. The minute it goes to Sister Brenda's hands, because Dada Brenda is so good and she's so articulate, whatever, she'll use her gift and it'll profit her. Somebody else will get the same money, but they'll think like a pauper and go and use it all. You see what I'm saying? So I'm glad Sister Tabitha you brought that up, because sometimes I'm scared to bring it up because people think I'm crazy.
But it's in the Bible.
Work.
Yeah, it's in the Bible.
This is how it work. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, Sister Brenda, and you know why I like the criminal channel and Sister Tabitha? Sister Tabitha already knows because she knows the culture. But why I like criminal channels is because sometimes you can see spiritual connections without being a prophet. You don't got to be a prophet. You just got to have an African mind when you see it. You know what I'm saying? For example, I watched a criminal show, and you guys will think I'm lying, but please Google it. And actually, these are things that I can send them to you, so I can prove what I'm saying. This girl was killed by this guy who used to be abusive towards her. Okay? But this girl at the time was about, I don't know, maybe 20 something, but she had a daughter who was very young. Okay? So she died and left a very young daughter. Okay? Man was taken to prison. Years later, the man is released. Daughter decides, let me go and just see why he killed my mom. I want to find out. I'm just going to be nice to him, blah, 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 blah. She goes, who told you that man didn't kill her too?
Oh.
What?
Wow.
That man didn't kill her too. Common sense will tell you that somebody's a killer, you don't want to be around him. Common sense will tell you that.
Right. Right.
But there's nothing like a coincidence in the spirit. Who the heck do you think you are? That you can own, that you can take out two bloodlines. And when I mean two people from the same bloodline, in the sense that that mother was still ripe and young, she still could have given birth to more children. Taking out nations. Who the heck do you think you are? That's why murder is no joke. When you kill someone, it's no joke.
That's why we were taught over here that amongst the Black community, you know, they do it now, but that was taboo. You was like, you didn't do that because you was taking life.
Yeah, you're killing somebody. Number one, you wipe up one generation. Killing a second person is another generation. Who do you think you are? Those things, number two, and number three, are never coincidences. There's nothing like a coincidence when it comes to taking out two people. You know what a human being is? Sister Brenda, I cannot even make one hair that you have. You know the ugliest hair that you may think you have, the speck of hair that you don't like? That one, I cannot even sit down here and give you a copyright for it. So you take out a whole human being. It's serious. That's why we had slaves, but the concept of a master killing a slave was bizarre and rare. The kind of slavery we had was different.
It wasn't even considered slavery. I mean, in the terms of what they refer to as enslavement.
Wow.
Just like an employer and an employee, because at that time they're bit okay. Now in African terms, if you go and do a crime, can your employer get mad and whoop your butt? Yeah, but still, there was also certain specifications of how much he could beat you. He cannot cause your skin to tear. Cool. So when you come and you see a criminal channel, one man has taken out two women. You know what a woman is? Let me tell you what a woman is. There was a former warlord in Liberia called, I know his last name is Blahi. Joshua Blahi, also known as Captain Butt Naked, General Butt Naked. Why? Because during the war, the specification for the covenant that he took to participate in war required for him one to kill when he's naked. So he was called Butt Naked. And that's what provided the immunity against the bullets he had. That immunity, that kind of witchcraft, that war witchcraft where people become immune to bullets is such high witchcraft. And the kind of sacrifices that are involved, you don't ever want to come near a person like that unless they've transformed, because they're carrying blood and innocent blood at that. You don't want, the minute you sleep with a man like that, just know that's the end of your life. If you don't have a power that's defending you, that's greater than him, you're dead. Because it's carrying reproach. Do you know David, as holy as he was, and the Most High loved David with all his heart? He said, this is a man after my own heart. David, with all his holiness, the Most High said, you cannot build me a temple. Your hands are dirty, your blood. A murderer cannot build a temple for the Most High. But ultimately, what he was doing was sacred. He was defending his people. I'm not going to sit down and you attack my kids. Man, I will kill you. So, you see what I'm saying? He said, let your son build it for me because he doesn't have.
Yep, sure did. Sure did. And so with that being said, melanated people need to understand, because some people ask, why is it that the other persuasion are doing all that they're doing, and they have done this? Because slavery did not start with us 400 years ago. People need to understand it was thousands of years ago. When you begin to research history, and when you understand who we are as a people, man, know thyself, and the relationship and the covenant that we have made with the Creator, then you'll understand why they're able to do what they do. And it seems as if they're getting off, but the universe is going to repay them. But we have such a divine connection and covenantal relationship with the Most High. We can't. We're going to see those ramifications happening to us. When you look at us, and now, even doing this teaching and talking and just dialoguing with you all, even what was spoken to me when I asked the Most High, why are we Black people hated all around the globe? And I heard the voice say, it's because of who you are. Not just because of who we are, but just that covenant that we have made. We are covenant people. And we need to really, really understand that we cannot do and act the same way as these other persuasions. We cannot. So this was a good teaching. And I see sister,
Question.
Yes.
So going back to what Sister Tabitha said, so you could be an innocent person, not knowing what is going on behind your back, and die.
Yeah.
Transition. So the moral of the story would be, do not have anybody visit you, and don't have anybody cook for you. Don't talk to anyone at all until after you get out the hospital or wherever you are, so that you will be safe.
Yeah, you have to be surrounded with good people who are morally upright, whether it's women who will cook for you, people who are moral, and these women also who are going to take care of you. They should not also be these women who are hovering around.
Yeah, but suppose you're
like
married.
helicopter. Yeah.
Suppose you're married and you think your husband is a moral person. He's not doing anything behind your back because he's not showing any signs or whatever, and nobody's telling you anything. I mean, and then you still die. I mean, like,
yeah, it's very unfortunate. But most of these men, they know most of them.
They knew.
And yes, most of them they know, and they used to they used to try to be upright. They used to, just for the sake of the family. So this covenant made sure that adultery and fornication, is just to limit this kind of sins, because they knew the sin, once they sin, there is a consequence. So why did these people die? Like now, our generation, because most of them didn't find their grandmothers, and their fathers and mothers were in charge. And so they didn't think it's necessary to teach them. So they are not aware of this culture and this covenant. So they go misbehave. That I think, white people misbehave. We see in the movies they misbehave. A daughter-in-law goes and has a relationship with father-in-law. I think it's okay. Try it in the African culture. Try to even sit in your father-in-law's bed. You see miracles will happen. Things gonna follow you. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. So there are things that is abomination, completely abomination. Another one was, Dada Tamara, this is to say that keeping the law of the old covenant, to me, what I can define now, it meant that everybody had to watch over the other people. It was Ubuntu. Even the law, keeping the law, we have to watch each other. Hey, it is bad. I normally see in funerals, when we have a funeral, people will be called different tribes. Nowadays, maybe you have a friend from another tribe and they tell you, we have a funeral back home. Can you take me? So we've also interacted and learned other people's cultures as well, because, we have many, many groups with different cultures, but they all, go to the same origin, So they will call a meeting, and there is a tribe that is the Akamba tribe. They will not go to the funeral. They will ask those people who are in their special days, ladies, if you know you have a mark, you have visitors, they call it visitors in, the other language. Anybody who has a visitor, please, tomorrow when we are going to do this, don't come near. Otherwise, they will kill or something will happen, even death.
Mm.
You see, so they have a meaning to that. And then in some cultures, they will separate, like after the funeral, they will say the people who are related by blood with this person, you remain behind, and the others, you have to go. Okay, if my daughter was from that family, but I'm already married, there is some cases that I may not even, I came to my village, a neighbor died. There's a possibility they will not allow me to sleep in the village.
Mm-hmm.
They will tell me, no, don't sleep around this compound because you're already married somewhere else. Just look for a friend's home, and sleep there. So, okay, they were sometimes protecting these energies. They understood about energy during death and birth and all these things. So we have to take care of one another. That is why when we came to the awakening, we had that task and that initiative, to teach or to let the people in the diaspora and other African people who forgot the culture, just to remind them this and this and this, because we feel like it's a burden on us, and it is our duty to tell others, because this is a social responsibility. I can say the old covenant was a social responsibility for all of us. It's a community thing. There is no way that, we are going to heaven, okay, they will check your file, okay, they will say, you did this, go to the fire.
They think that though.
This is a community thing. We are going to heaven, okay. This is a clan thing. That is why we didn't want in our lineage somebody to commit suicide. You didn't want in your family background, in your family line, somebody to be a thief. You didn't want somebody to kill. Because now, as a community, this guy, even though we are going to heaven, this guy is spoiling for us, It's already spoiled. Because it's a community, it's a responsibility for all of us. So that was the Moses law. It was a collective. It was collective, not individual. So how can you take the law of the Most High, the commandments, and then you put it together with capitalism? It will not happen. It has to be communism. It has to be, the Ubuntu. The Ubuntu is the African communism, which is different from the communism they wanted to bring about, the political one. So ours is like we have to. That is why when a person killed, a person was a thief, adulterous, a fornicator, and this, they could even be expelled from the community. It could not be sold to other people because there were no people buying other people, but they could be excommunicated. So they could be told you. Add to that, sister, please.
So
you are. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A relative of mine was dating a guy who came from a prominent family. Okay, so it was like, oh yeah, you're dating him. Oh, blah 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 blah. Then she tells me, yeah, but mom committed suicide and a brother. I just told her, keep it moving right now.
I know.
Keep it moving. Not because, and like I always say, I don't care how much money the Kennedys have. If you come near my daughter, I will cut you. I don't care how much money you have, because the Kennedy, even the person who wrote the Kennedy curse is not even a Christian. He's not even a religious person who wrote the Kennedy curse. It doesn't take a prophet to see something's off.
Yep, something is off.
One suicide is enough. You're not going to wait for two. I just told her, hey, you know that relationship is not going anywhere. The minute they hear one suicide, let's move on. You know why? Because even with suicide, remember, it's not because that Africans will discriminate you. There are those who will marry you, but there's stipulations to marry you. There has to be a cleansing. It have to be.
Yeah, there has to be a cleansing. Yes, that's what I want to say.
Yeah,
exactly.
But, there are also fights you can do without. Here's the thing. There are fights you can do without. You want to come in there and start wrestling that suicide spirit there?
Nope.
I mean, one of the Kennedy's wives died about, is it 8 years ago? One of the Kennedy cousins' wives, she killed herself in a burn. Suicide. Do you see how some of these spirits sometimes will not get the person, but get the wife? Why? Because the wife, remember, is, in as much as men are the head of the household, the woman is the highest priest in that household.
Yes.
Okay? So that's why the devil did not go to Adam. Women are intuitive. It means their connection to God is superior.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yep.
And Africans know that. That's why you don't want a pregnant woman to curse you. First of all, this woman is creating a baby, which means her communication, her vibration is coming from the Most High.
Yes.
Where productivity comes from. If that woman tells you, she spits on the ground, tells you will never prosper. She's taken her saliva and covenanted it. There are covenants that happen without even you two agreeing. If someone takes their saliva and spits it on the ground, those words they say have now become married, become one with the earth. The earth to present fertility. You don't want an elder spitting on the ground and cursing you. You don't want an elder. And another thing elders do is they'll expose their genitals. That thing of stripping when prophets were upset or wailing women is a very African thing. If your mother tears her clothes at you and you see her nakedness, bro,
that's a curse.
Bro, that's the same thing Noah did. Noah, his son saw him naked and his son laughed at him. What did his dad do? I think his dad cussed his grandchild. And I think that was so weird. But anyway, ended up cussing his grandchild because of this.
So the Bible says, yeah.
Yeah, that nakedness. When you see prophets or people in Israel and cover disrobing, it's an act of being disgruntled, and it's not just being disgruntled. It's something that will bring a curse. That's why when we had political prisoners in Kenya, and one of the Nobel winning award-winning winners was there.
Laureate, the Wangari Maathai.
Yeah, Wangari Maathai. The old women in anger went and stripped their clothes. All of it. There was women hanging there with just, life producing flesh, just swinging around.
Wow.
Talking about what we cast the president for imprisoning our children. That is a very serious crime. That is a very serious. That's something that it's a curse that will not only go to the president, but it can affect a nation.
Yeah. The police ran away. The police they know. They saw this. They said, please.
They ran away, but then they called the Kenya Fujo. They called the GSU.
And fasting will do that to you all. To tell you a story, I come from Church of God in Christ down in the South, and the founder, they had arrested him, Bishop Charles Harrison Mason. If you know, you know. And he fasted. Martin Luther King fasted too. And do you not know people started dying in that prison system, that jail system? They started dying. This was in Mississippi. And the judge told him, You get up out of Mississippi and don't you come back. And see, a lot of people up north, they don't know this history because down south we had Founders Day in Mississippi, and we would go and hear these stories about him. And our people back in the day, them older people, were very, very spiritual. When they fast, when they spoke, things happened, and it happened quickly. And so they started dying off, and they told him to leave, and he went. That's how he got to Memphis. He went to Memphis. And that's how the convocation that they have every November now is in Mississippi, but they have Founders Day in Mississippi because that's where it originated. And some other, so I had a book, and I hate that I let somebody read it. It was these old mothers and things telling the stories about during that particular time, during the Pentecostal movement and the things. They had a revival, and it was a swarm of flies came, and the preacher spoke to the flies. This was in that book, and the flies left. Storm came, they spoke to the storm, storm left. This is in America back in the what, the 1800s, late 1800s. So what happened to us? Because when we spoke, when they spoke, it happened. So, you know, this was a good teaching, you all. Tabitha, I know you have to go. It's late on your end, and I need to go as well because it's late on my end to do some things that I need to do. This was a great teaching, a great revelation. I hope, no, I'm not going to say hope. You know, I decree that this message will reach many ears of our people, and it will prick their hearts and their knowledge and understanding to know that we're one people and we are covenant people, and what you do impacts not just you but all of us. So all of this division is hurting me. When they're fighting and it's hurting all of us.
It is. It is.
So
Dada, you know that covenant in the culture that you cannot spill your brother's blood. Like when you fight and by mistake you scratch your brother, oh my goodness, that one was a very, very bad thing. You could be called together, a cow will be slaughtered, and then now you will be told to forgive each other. And then now that relationship, the covenant of sister and brother or sister and sister, will be reinstated again. It's like now they are bringing you together again, because when you spill your brother's blood like Cain did, the relationship has been cut off. So they have to call you, slaughter a cow or something, and then you have to forgive each other, and then you have to eat together. Covenant means you have to eat together and you have to forgive each other. Yes, and then you have to swear you will not do it again, you will not fight again. Then there was the covenant of do not mistreat the widows or the orphans. When you do that, bad things happen to you. And another thing, and then another thing, you cannot steal from an orphan's homestead. When you go to steal a cow, you must be caught. You know how people steal and go scot-free. But if you steal in a widow's home or an orphan's home, you have to be caught. And when they catch you, they're going to tie the rope of the cow on your leg and say, this is the thief who was stealing the cow.
But there's also
because they'll find you.
True. I think that is something that make people choose sometimes, and then.
Okay, now the oath. There is an oath now you take when the cows have been stolen from the village. The elders will blow the horn. Even to this day, they don't care about Wi-Fi. They will still call you in the traditional way, because that traditional way has power.
Yes.
So they will blow the horn. Poo, poo, ebarasa, ebarasa, ebarasa means we need to meet. Okay, and then you'll go to the headmans. You know, there is a village elder. There are other village elders apart from the administrative chief. There is elders in the village. So the elders will come and then they will say, we want the sons of the people. If you have a son who is 18 years or this, okay, call all of them. Now, nobody is saying who is the thief. Okay, call all of them. They will prepare beer. They will take the cow dung of the cow. They will do so many things. And then these people, you have to sip that one by one. And you have to take an oath that I'm not a thief. I don't steal, I what. But if you're the one, once you do that, you will die.
I heard about that. And they say it has no
return, no
over in the
return.
West. These oaths and things that they make is
The only person that could do that is the ones that are just beyond help. Because me personally, there's things I feel, okay, I'll do some, I must take a private, babe. When it comes to an oath, bro, you will not get me to take an oath unless I know what I'm not taking that. I'm like
very, very sensitive, very sensitive.
well, in healthcare, in certain professions, they have you to take an oath. And in medicine, when you become a physician, it's the Hippocrates oath, right? So when you look at the nursing oath, which I am, it's basically the Hippocrates oath. So years ago, when I learned all of this about oath, I renounced it, asked for forgiveness. And to this day, when I'm doing my decrees, I say, if it's any oath or vows that I made knowingly or unknowingly, so I cancel them out. I revoke them, past, present, and future. They're void. They know they have no impact over my life.
Were you finished? I'm sorry. One of those oaths is when we were in church. And they said, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Okay, and you responded with, yes, I do. That's an oath. So you definitely have to break that, because you've associated yourself with an entity that you know nothing about, especially the Jesus that they present you with.
Yes,
the white one.
Yes.
And that's the what you call it. Good evil. The good evil of the Jesus that the white man presents. It's good evil. And that's what caused man to fall in the beginning, good evil. How is it that you have a homosexual carrying the Jesus email?
Come on.
They tricked us. They tricked us. They tricked so many of our people, because I told my husband, looking in the Bible, and me and Bosibore, we talked about this. We be talking just like me and Tabitha be talking about stuff and dialogue, and we sisters. We might not all agree on what we do, but we ain't arguing. We don't argue, do we? We just say, okay, well, that's how we sisters. So I told my husband, yes, it is, and that's actually how it is with us, honestly. So I told my husband, I said, I believe that we had a savior. He was black. The Bible does say that the Most High sent many saviors. I said, and what did they do with Jesus? I'm talking about the real one. I'm talking about the Messiah. What did they do with him? They hung him on a tree, right? They murdered him. What do they do with all our saviors we have on the continent of Africa, in America? What do they do to all of them, you all?
They kill them.
They hang them.
Hang them on a tree.
They cut their heads.
Yes.
So every generation I've come to realize the Most High will send us somebody to help us in our generation, a deliverer. In every generation. So they, just like we had our different ones here in America, y'all had them in the back then. They had theirs. They had the Deborahs. They had their different deliverers.
Yes.
What was that? Barak? Was it? They said I'm not going to go unless Deborah goes. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Ruth.
No. The one that was going to fight. He was one of the judges.
Oh yeah. Because she was
He said, I'm not going to go unless Deborah goes, because he knew the power of her. So my thing is, yes, it was back then somebody that came and they killed him, unalived him, just like they do all of the ones that the Most High send for us. In fact, they talked about this here gene that they looking for, the Messiah gene that they be looking for.
Yeah.
They can't find it. They ain't gonna find it.
No, they're not going to find it. They don't know who the Messiah is going to be.
I know.
And who was that what's his name over there in was it Kinshasa or was it Brazzaville, that says and he was a Messiah type. They killed him, and he said there will be many more like me that will come, and you will not be able to
Simone Mbongo.
No,
is that who you talking about?
Toko. He said there will be many more that will come, and you will not be able to kill. Now think about what a savior does. A deliverer comes to help the people out of danger, out of harm, right? From the Old Testament perspective. So we that are teaching, just like today, saying, okay, y'all, we one people. We are all impacted by this. We need to repent. We need to do right. So what are we doing? That's a type of deliverer type right there. You all, and it's many of us doing this, right? I remember looking at Sister Bosibore years ago, talking about and when Tabitha sent me the video, I'm like, oh, I know her. I remember looking at that video. And look, here it is. Fast forward, and that was some years ago. And fast forward to today, here we are connected, teaching together, learning together, growing together. I am so excited to be alive during this time, you are. I am so excited.
But you see, also, like I always tell people, I say, okay, I can use linguistics to tell you who the Messiah is, but I always tell people, if you want to know the race or the ethnicity the Messiah belonged to, look at a people who had to write their articles or write their beliefs during colonial times. Okay, when you hear the word colonial literature, the Bible, especially the New Testament, is colonial literature. It's one of those things, and the Old Testament is pre-colonial literature. Colonial came with the Romans. Now take that and mirror that onto the other cultures. Do you have colonial literature? You have secret communication codes during a time where somebody ruled you. Did you at a time have people from your culture hanging on trees?
Their heads cut off.
Yes, their heads cut off. Because the Bible says that is the man who hangs on a tree and dies. Why? And that's why they say that the Messiah took on the cross that was a vulgar symbol, and it became sacred, and by that he became the curse. That's what we believe. So if you look at that curse, you will see so many African Americans hang on trees. What was the symbol that they used to terrorize them? The cross.
Yes. Yep.
You see that there is a rendition of a certain kind of Messiah. Me here in America, even though I experienced my own mental issues of discrimination, I can walk around and say, "Woo, I'm blood magic," because somebody's ancestor was hung on the tree somewhere. An African American ancestor.
Yes.
You see, you will always see his descendants will have his rendition. And why will they have his curse or manifest his curse? Because the people of Israel demanded. They said, let the curse be on us and our children.
That's what I'm saying. They said on our children.
Not only did they take the curse from the Old Testament, they broke the laws. They said, let the blood of the Messiah be upon us. What stupidity is that? You will not catch me saying something.
I know. I know that's.
Let it be upon us and our children.
Yes.
You see what happened to the children? They're being hung on trees.
Yeah.
Oh, in Africa, they did the same thing to Patrice Lumumba. They tied him to a tree and they did flying squad on him. That's still dying on a tree.
They hung some in Africa too.
Yeah.
So, they did some terrible things. They cut off the hands and feet of some over in Congo like they did over here in America. That's why I said, we're the same thing. If you have melanin skin, you have a ancestor that we're all connected to. And Bosibore brought that out in Nkulu. That's like dark. You know, we have a common ancestor. If you black, so stop saying I ain't African. I'm foundational black. If you have melanin, that's the key right there. It's the melanin.
Melanin.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's the defining course of this whole thing that we're talking about. It's the melanin. That's what connects us. You're all one with a common ancestor.
Yes.
We are connected, and so that is why we are all impacted. So whatever happens on the continent of Africa, that's why people in America, you all really need to be sending up decrees on behalf of what the U.S. is trying to do in Nigeria, because it's going to impact us. It's going to impact us.
Whatever they want to do over there, whatever they want to do over there, they're going to try to do over here too.
Yes, and if Africa is not free, we ain't free, y'all. Do people not realize it yet? They know who we are.
Yeah.
They got our scrolls. They know that we're one people. We just ignorant to it. So when Africa is free, all of us will be free. All of us. All right. So Bosibore is on another teaching. Tabitha gotta go to sleep. Now I need to really go cook. It's late. This has been a great discussion. I greatly appreciate everybody's contributions and questions and everything. This was awesome. Until we meet again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. We're going to end it. I hope, this reaches our people and all over, many people, to hear this. So you all have a grand day. I'm ending it here.
What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening. Heard all over the world. What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening. Heard all over the world. Hey yo fam, PERPETUAL, it's time to wake up. Don't hit the snooze button. We gotta gird up, put your sire on. Here's the word, we're a light to the nations. We gotta let it show. We were called by the Most High Yah to represent him. Hallelujah, Luah, it's Olele, B'nai Yakuba.